Hi there guys, how you all doing? The Wrestling Guy back here today. Welcome back to the channel. We have Jay with us today, and we are going to be having a bit of a wrestling talk / interview. So if you guys do enjoy the video, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. And Jay, welcome to the channel.
Thanks for having me, mate. Looking forward to this for a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long waiting, hasn't it? It's been a long wait, but we finally got around to doing it. Yeah, and it should be good. So I think a good place to sort of start really is let's go right back to where it all began. So where for you really did it all start? What's the sort of...
For me, growing up in the 80s, I was really into watching World of Sport on ITV with my older cousin.
Yeah.
He's a few years older than me, so he was like sort of getting into it before me, and he introduced me to it. And then sort of progressing from there, we got Sky TV when I got a bit older in the early 90s. And then sort of got into then WWF watching and, seeing guys like Hogan, Savage, Warrior. For me, I've always been into like comics and superheroes. And these guys were like superheroes on TV for me, like the physiques, the big, bright, bold colors, the outfits. I mean, Warrior with the face paint. And then later on, when I discovered WCW as well, obviously Sting, a very similar look with the blonde hair and the bright face paint. And guys like Demolition or Legion of Doom, just like the big, powerful, muscular physiques. It was superheroes on TV fighting for me, so that got me hooked really early on.
Yeah, definitely. I think mine's a very similar story. So obviously I started watching it when I was about 6. And all I can remember from it really was we went to Asda one day. When we were walking down the toy section, and I was with Stu, funnily enough. He was looking at all the wrestling figures. Because obviously he's a big wrestling fan as well. I sort of remember going up to him and I spotted one that particularly stood out to me on the shelf. It was a Rey Mysterio figure. And it really sort of stood out to me because obviously the mask, the color, I think it was his red attire, so it was quite a distinctive sort of color. And I was just almost mesmerized by it. I was like, oh my God, I have to get that. And then it all sort of all went down from there. So I obviously then started watching some stuff. I mean, I think it was my first pay-per-view was Wrestlemania 23. So one to start off with, really good pay-per-view. And then I've been sort of hooked ever since then. And like you say,
fantastic,
it's the superheroes on TV. Like I said, the likes of Rey Mysterio, Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's probably my number one. I absolutely love Jeff Hardy.
And you look at them literally flying around the ring as well with some of the high flying spots they do. I mean, like for me, for me in my younger days, should I say, watching guys like Macho Man, literally going like 8, 10, 15 feet in the air, whatever you want to call it, coming down with that beautiful elbow drop. And sometimes you watch it and it's like time slowed down. You see them literally just fly through the air in slow motion before they finally hit the move. Just mesmerizing, really.
It's fantastic. It really is fantastic. So we're going to just fast forward a little bit now. I know obviously I've chatted to you previously before. You said you haven't been to many shows live, but what's your most distinctive one that you've been to and why?
I think for me, back in the 90s, we did a lot of family holidays going to Butlins, and they had a wrestling show there. Obviously, it wasn't sort of WWF level, but it was an independent show, and they had some good quality wrestlers there. And for me, it didn't matter who they were. They didn't matter if they were like a world champion or if they just like had that promotion title. It was just seeing live wrestling. I'm close enough to almost touch the guy. And sort of they come down to the ring, and like the guys at the big events, you're there at the side touching hands with them as they're coming down. and you're a little kid, sort of like 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, and you're just like, oh wow, that's so cool. I've touched that wrestler,
Yeah.
And like saying, like feeling like they're superheroes, just like, oh man, a real life hero,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, mine's
so that always
mine's fairly similar. I mean, I kind of my first show was in Cardiff Motorpoint Arena. I went to, it was just a WWE house show, but they had a surprise tag team come in, and it was the Shield. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Shield.
Cool.
The Shield are my absolute favorite tag team of all time. I'm absolutely been big fans of the Shield since day one. I was completely heartbroken when they broke up. I was completely.
They were good. They should have had a lot longer together.
Yeah, I just remember all that we heard obviously the Shield's music hit, and I was only about 8 or 9 at the time, and I literally was just absolutely just blown away by it. And we looked 3 seats to our left, and you've got Roman Reigns walking down the steps. And I'm just
that close.
Complete shock and awe. I'm just in just because obviously Motorpoint's not a massive arena anyway, but I didn't think that they'd still come down the steps even in a little arena like that. It was absolutely crazy.
Oh wow!
I was completely in my element with that, and then they jumped on a helicopter and flew all the way back to over to London for the Raw taping that night. So it was a busy night for them.
Oh wow! Crazy.
Yeah. But for my first show, I was just absolutely shocked by that. I was
And I think another good show I saw, it was the local leisure centre in Yate. I don't know if it was the first time I met Stu, actually, possibly. It was a local indie show, and their main event was actually a WrestleMania 3 rematch between Jake the Snake and the Honky Tonk Man.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, so for me, it's like I'd grown up watching them on TV, and then to actually see them live, it's like I didn't care that they were later in their career. It didn't bother me that Honky Man wasn't the IC champ anymore. It was just a chance to see them live. Old school legends like that.
Yeah,
absolutely mesmerized.
Yeah, it's certainly amazing. I mean, I keep focusing on WWE, but I've been to some great independent shows as well. There was a wrestling company that used to be sort of around where I live, called CSF, and they were in. We went and watched them a couple of times in Bath. And I remember a great match. It was the main event. It was a steel cage match. Like I said, only about 8 or 9 at the time. So obviously, steel cage is absolutely humongous to a normal person. So I was literally just like, I was completely mesmerized by it. And then the guy decides to climb onto the top of the cage and do a frog splash from the top of the cage. And I was just completely like, it's just the contrast between watching on TV and watching it live is just completely different. Different. It's just amazing.
It's funny actually mentioning that particular group. I remember watching one of their shows somewhere over Wiltshire way, I think it was, and the hall they were in, unfortunately the ceilings were really low, and literally if any of the guys went to the top rope to do a move, they couldn't even stand up straight.
Wow. Yeah.
So unfortunately they still managed to pull off a good move, but obviously, you can't sort of like get right up straight and do a proper dive. They literally sort of like crouch in to not quite be touching the ceiling, and almost had to, one of their guys, he went to do like a swanton. Obviously, he couldn't actually jump and flip. He kind of almost just had to roll it into it, almost like doing a roll on the floor. And it's still obviously like the impact was good and it made for a good move, but at the same time, just like, if only they could get a better venue with a higher ceiling.
Would have made all the difference. But still, an absolutely fantastic company and great show.
I'm still friends with a few of those guys today.
Fantastic group. I went to watch them a couple of times when they were traveling about. Really, really good. So yeah, let's move on a little bit then. I know obviously this is going to be a difficult one for you, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it's a fundamental question in an interview like this. 5 favorite wrestlers and why?
Ooh, okay. Top of the list, I would definitely have to go with Macho Man.
Yeah,
For me, I said like he was one of the early guys I saw, and he was just an all-round package for me. Good mic skills, good in the ring. He had the attire that really stood out. Coming in with the big robes and the pomp and circumstance music. Absolutely love that for an entrance theme.
Yeah.
So definitely have to put him at the top of my list. I don't know if I can necessarily put them in like a order 1, 2, 3, 5 as good to bad or anything like that. Just like
just a generalization of 5. Yeah.
So problem. Another one I definitely have to put on there is James Storm.
Yeah.
Wearing one of his old shirts.
Yeah. Cool.
Because a lot of people say with the beard and the long hair, I look like him. Of course, I also love wearing boy hats. So it's a good combination having that and the shirt as well. But yeah, I mean, for him, just like when he first started in TNA, coming to the ring, part of America's Most Wanted, and that, like standing on the ropes, firing off the blanks from his gun. The way his character evolved, going on to Beer Money, and then going on to do the Revolution stuff with Abyss and that, and even going into when he did the Death Crew Council, and then from there, he went over to WWE and did stuff with NXT, and his character, he's had similarities to his character all the time, but he has evolved and changed as well.
Yeah,
and that's always been a good one for me. Another one I'd have to pick Sting, but specifically the 90s, early 90s, late 80s, early 90s Sting, when he had the short bleach blonde hair, he had the loud, crazy, colourful makeup.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I liked him in the later 90s when he went with like the Crow style attire and makeup. That was cool, but it just stood out more for me personally in his brighter, younger days, shall we call them.
Yeah.
So I've definitely got to put him in my top 5.
Yeah.
Edge is another one I will put in there.
Yeah.
Similar to like I was saying with James Storm, his evolution over the years, starting out with the Brood, and then sort of the gothic vampire sort of style.
Yeah.
And then he and Christian breaking away, and just the goofy side of them as a tag team, with the 5-second pose.
Yeah.
And bringing in the concerto move. Absolutely fantastic name for a move, concerto. Always brilliant. And obviously like the matches they had when like doing the TLC with the Dudleys and the Hardys. Absolutely incredible matches. I mean, that spot during TLC 2 at WrestleMania 17, you got Jeff in the middle of the ring hanging off the tag titles. Edge climbs halfway up a ladder and dives off and spears him.
Fantastic.
And you just think, how are you not in a hospital bed after that?
Yeah. Well, it's moves like that ended up messing his neck up, wasn't it? So,
exactly. Yeah. At the time, you look at it and you get up and think, wow, how are you surviving? But like you said, you look at him, obviously where he was when he retired, and you just think, oh man, you understand why they do it, for the love of what and the fans and everything, but at the same time, just like, oh, how much longer could you go if you hadn't done those sort of moves, if you changed the style or whatever? But then I suppose you got the argument, if he had a different style, would he have been as popular?
Exactly. Yeah, Spear's one of my favourite finishes of all time. So
it's a good powerful finish.
Yeah.
And to top it off, I would have to go. I'd probably go Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Another good all-rounder. He could do the high flying, he could do the brawling, he could do the technical stuff. He could do more hardcore, ladder matches. Him and Razor at WrestleMania 10, incredible match.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
I mean, obviously they weren't the guys to create the ladder match, but they made it what it is today. You know, the popularity of it and the craziness of it. You know, and I think they're definitely my top 5.
Yeah, definitely. Some great choices there. I've been trying to narrow mine down all day, really. I've been trying to think of my top 5 because, like I said,
sometimes it is difficult to narrow it to 5, isn't it?
Yeah, there's some. Obviously, I think I could just go on listing them all day because there's been some absolutely fantastic people over the years. But I think mine definitely, like I said earlier on, mine definitely has to be Jeff Hardy. I absolutely love Jeff Hardy. Well, the Hardy Boys as a tag team are just absolutely fantastic. I've got a really special Hardy Boys. Oh, sorry, the lighting is awful.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, really nice. I'd love to get that signed one day if I can.
Awesome. Cool.
To go with my collection there. Yeah, Hardy Boys as a tag team, one of my favourites, but Jeff Hardy specifically, I really, really love. Like you said, the look, the different face paints, the contact lenses, the way, especially nowadays, he paints his eyelids. I just think that it just looks awesome. And like I say, the moves he does, some of the moves you think, how are you not in a hospital? One of the ones that stands out to me the most is WrestleMania 23 when he put Edge on the ladder he sort of put across the barricade and the ring, and then he jumps off it and puts him through it, and you think, oh my gosh, like how it, like
I mean, you know, it's like
fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm 38. Sometimes I've got such a bad back, I take like 5 minutes to get out of bed. You know, and you look at the things they do, and like seconds later they're out doing something even crazier, and you're just like, it hurts me to watch. You know.
And you think, how are you then coming out the next week to do another show and doing similar stuff again?
Exactly.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Another one that I have to probably say is one of my top favorites is Triple H. Absolutely huge fan of Triple H ever since he came in, obviously as Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Although, not gonna lie, watched his first WrestleMania the other day against Ultimate Warrior, that squash match. Not
terrible.
Not massively pleased about that, but there you go. Nonetheless, he has had some absolutely fantastic. Nonetheless, so he has had some absolutely fantastic matches over the year. One of the ones that stands out to me the most has got to be him and Taker in that Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania 28. It's just an absolutely great match. It's just, and like you say, another one of those all-rounders. Like, it's very rarely you see a bad Triple H match. The character is amazing. The entrance is fantastic. He's got some of the best WrestleMania entrances I think we'll ever see. I just think he's an absolutely great all-rounder. And obviously the stuff he's doing now with NXT, obviously because he's in charge of that, is just absolutely fantastic as well. Big fan of him generally. I would love to meet him one day. Obviously it's getting less and less likely of that, but the more he's taking over the business, but I would still love to meet him one day. I know this was on your list, but I'm gonna have to say, especially at the minute when I'm watching a lot of the older stuff, Randy Savage, just absolutely incredible. Like you say, one of the best elbow drops ever, just absolutely fantastic. Hits it so good every time. Just looks absolutely fantastic. And like I say, best entrance music ever. Actually got it as my favorite ringtone at the moment because I love it so much. Absolutely love it. I just think that, like I say, that gravelly voice he's got on the mic as well, he does an absolutely fantastic job. I'm just an absolutely huge fan. My next two are actually groups. My first one, like I said earlier on, is The Shield. Absolutely love The Shield. One of the best tag teams I think I've ever seen. Just got the whole package. You got the power of Roman Reigns, the agility of Seth Rollins, and just the all-rounder of Dean Ambrose is the best you can have in a tag team.
Good combo.
Just absolutely fantastic. And like I said, so fortunate that I was actually able to see them live as The Shield as well. Which is absolutely
very
fantastic.
lucky,
And my final one is a tag team that I'm still trying to get over. I mean, I know you don't follow NXT, all that much, but it's the Undisputed Error. One of my favourite tag teams. Well, probably my second favourite tag team behind the Shield, but it's very close between those two. I'm not sure if you're aware, but they actually broke up a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
It's absolutely heartbroken with that, because I just think they're absolutely fantastic as a tag team. They built NXT pretty much. It's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, just absolutely great. Had some fantastic matches in NXT as a team and also individually. For absolutely fantastic wrestlers. And my worry is now that because they broke them up, they're going to move them up to obviously the main rosters and not use them, which is going to be an absolute shame. Got some great talent there.
Yeah, it seems to be a recurring theme at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic wrestlers that are probably going to end up getting wasted. So, but we'll see what happens. I don't like to presume, but we'll see what happens. So I think obviously we talked about our favorite wrestlers. Now let's talk about best matches in your opinion. Let's go for 5 best matches as well.
5 best, okay. WrestleMania 3 with Savage and Steamboat. Absolutely incredible match, that one. I mean, it's one that I can watch again and again. And, as well from sort of a fan perspective, looking at what they've come forward with in interviews in recent years, before Savage passed away, obviously, talking about how, he was meticulous for planning his matches step by step. And apparently they wrote out every move they were going to do, and Savage would quiz Steamboat and vice versa. They quiz each other and say, okay, move 17, what is it? And move 29, what do you do at move 18? And they jump backwards and forwards, so the brain's constantly thinking, right, okay. And just to be able to do that,
it's fantastic.
Because I'm sure there was a couple of spots here and there they had to have called in the ring. I mean, but just overall to be able to remember so much and put on so many near falls, and it's one of those matches where you're like, you can't call it early, you just couldn't tell who was going to win that one.
Definitely.
That's definitely one of my all times. Another one, like I mentioned earlier, is Shawn and Razor at WrestleMania 10 on the ladder match. Absolutely incredible. I mean, like we were saying about some of the guys doing moves that they'll suffer for in later years, but some of the stuff they did in that match, how either of them didn't leave Madison Square Garden in an ambulance just boggles the mind.
Definitely.
Even when you look at sort of what some people call a relatively simplistic move, when Shawn got the ladder in the corner and just let it fall forward with his weight and just landed on top of Razor, the slightest thing went wrong there, you could have crushed his ribs or his windpipe with it easily. But just to be able to do that safely is, staggering.
It is.
Another one for me, actually quite a big in terms of the number of competitors, was actually Royal Rumble 92 when Flair won the title.
Fantastic.
I know a lot of people say that's the best Royal Rumble in history. I can't argue with them, absolutely. I mean, the guys they had in the match itself, the performance of everyone. I mean, one of my favorite bits actually was it was the whole feud with Macho Man and Jake the Snake at the time. And Randy comes into the ring, so Jake slithers out and hides. He goes under the bottom rope and hides from him for a while. And then later on, Jake's eliminated, and then Randy eliminated himself. He jumped over the top rope onto Jake.
I remember that.
I don't know if it was planned. I don't know if Randy just got too into it and just forgot. But it's just you just watch that and it's like, you just eliminated yourself, dude. But fair play. But I think for me on that event, you cannot top Bobby Heenan.
No.
my all-time favorite commentator, you know, rest in peace, Bobby, absolute legend. But that night, oh, so funny.
Yeah.
Just everything about being fair to Flair, and you swear the guy's gonna have a heart attack in the middle of commentating, and just just putting so much energy and passion into it, and you just think, Bobby, calm down, lay off the caffeine.
Yeah.
And it was the rapport between him and Gorilla Monsoon as well, you know. I always love that for the two of them over the years, you know. Bobby would just go on, and then all of a sudden you just get ready to go, won't you be serious? It's like, yeah, been told off again.
But
throughout that event, you know, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Let me see another one. Probably have to go for it'd be over in WCW. I think it was the War Games after the NWO formed. So, you know, the concept of War Games, having the two rings surrounded with a cage with the roof on it, absolutely amazing. You know, I've seen some great ones before that, but this particular one stood out for me because at the time everyone was questioning, was Sting part of the NWO? They had the impersonator, Jeff Farmer, I think his name was, you know, playing the imposter Sting. And, you know, just the way they all sold it, you know, Luger questioning Sting, have you joined the NWO? And then obviously, you know, he comes out in the match and he's with the NWO. And then the real Sting comes in, just takes out the NWO, and just kind of looks at Luger and then just walks out. And to me, that was just like, that's kind of just signified, screw you. Don't doubt the Stinger, you know.
Definitely. Yeah.
And another one for me is a TNA match. It was America's Most Wanted in a tag team cage match against, I think it was Christopher Daniels and Ilix Skipper. And just at one point, I think Storm was climbing the cage and Skipper was actually on top of the cage, and he went to walk along. And it was unplanned at this point, but he recovered it so well. He actually overbalanced and fell, but he managed to, like, and as he was going down, he managed to hook his legs onto Storm. And pull off. They managed to pull off the Hurricane Rana. At the time you just think that could have gone so horribly wrong. Because obviously, you know, he wasn't planning on falling at that point. He was going to hit the move. You know, so he could have easily overbalanced. Well, he did overbalance, but he could have easily dropped wrong and broken his neck or something.
It could have. Like you say, it's just incredible how they can do that completely on the fly within the matter of seconds. They can literally just.
And obviously, you know, on Storm's part as well, he knew that the move was going to be coming, but he was able to react to, oh my God, it's happened early and he's in trouble. I've got to go with it, you know.
Definitely.
And I remember that was an absolute bloodbath match as well. I don't think any of them didn't come out of it without blood.
To
me, that just really stands out, that one.
Fantastic.
I think that's my 5.
It is. Some great choices.
Hard to keep count sometimes, isn't
it? Especially when you get carried away, obviously going into the details and stuff.
I tend to do that.
Well, me too. I think it's just showing our passion for wrestling, isn't it? Really.
Totally.
So mine, I think the first one I've really got to go for is Michaels and Undertaker at WrestleMania. Now, I've been spending some time thinking about 25 or 26 because they're both equally as good, and I think I've got to go for 25 personally. There's just some fantastic moments in there. I absolutely love the bit where obviously Undertaker does his dive over the top rope and takes up the camera, and Michaels pushes the camera guy in the way. I just think that's absolutely fantastic. It's just an absolutely classic moment for me. I love it when they do things like that. I just think it's absolutely fantastic because it shows the character of Michaels and stuff, and it's just one of the classic WrestleMania moments for me, really.
Definitely, yeah.
Just as a match, I think it just absolutely is just breathtaking. Obviously, you've got two absolute legends. Two of my favourites, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, just absolutely fantastic. But just absolutely amazing. Again, that doubt, that feeling you get in your stomach when you watch it for the first time, when you think, is the Undertaker going to lose? And it's just a surreal feeling, really.
Totally.
Because obviously something as iconic as the streak, you could think it could all be over.
Definitely.
And leading on to that point is, like I said earlier, Triple H versus Undertaker at WrestleMania 28. The classic moment that stands out in my head, I can see it clear as day now. Shawn Michaels hits the Sweet Chin music into the pedigree. Everyone was like, that's it now. That's it. It's
game over. Yeah.
And then,
pun intended, game over. Yeah.
Yeah, game over. Yeah. And then everyone's like, yeah, that's it, streak's finished. And then he kicks out. And everyone, I remember literally jumping out of the chair like, what? I remember I was talking to Stu about that exact moment, and he said he has never heard an arena of 80,000 people scream so loud in their life. Because he said literally everyone was thinking the same thing. Like everyone watching on TV.
He was at that one, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was at that one. Yeah, lucky guy. And yeah.
Words I cannot say on air about him.
It's just
put me in the comments, Stu.
Just absolutely fantastic match. Like I say, streak would have, could have, should have been over. But
what happened?
Just absolutely fantastic. Obviously, it happened 2 years later at WrestleMania 30. It's Brock Lesnar.
Painful to talk about.
I mean, I still remember watching it now, of that specific match, and thinking, did he kick out? Or didn't he kick out? Because there's a slight delay. You saw the referee sort of, he kind of put his hand down a bit awkwardly, and everyone thought, I think everyone was thinking the same thing, of thinking, did he kick out? And then the bell goes and you get the announcement and you think, oh my God, is that actually it? And I remember Stu saying literally that you go from the buzz of the arena to just complete silence, and it's just absolutely fantastic. It's just shock more than anything. I remember watching it on TV thinking, there's no way that's just happened.
I was the same. I was like, that's got to have been a mistake. That's got to have been a botched call.
Because I know that Undertaker was actually injured in that match. He actually had a concussion in that match. Because I think it was when they were fighting on the outside, and Brock Lesnar picked Undertaker up and powerbombed him on the outside. And Undertaker actually hit his head, I think, quite badly on the I don't know if it was the barricade or just the floor generally, but I know that he was definitely injured in that match anyway. So that made me think. That made me think: was it, like you say, was it a botch call?
Because I remember as well. You look at it and you think, because like you said, knowing that he was injured, you think, was he supposed to kick out and he didn't, and that's why the ref was stated. I mean, obviously, I know after that, there was a lot of people sort of talking about, was he supposed to have won the match? Did they have to change it because of his injury? A lot of surrounding that for many, many years.
And my personal opinion, I think there's way better people that could have beaten the streak. Like I said, should have been WrestleMania 28. I know before from watching a documentary about The Undertaker that he actually wanted Edge to end his streak at WrestleMania 24. But Edge point blank refused and said he can't do it. Which I thought was good of Edge, because that could have been that would have been better. But I just don't think it was the right call. Obviously, hitting 3 F5s and then beating him. It's a bit like. That's rubbish. Anyway, moving on. My third match, I've got to say, is definitely Survivor Series 2011. It was the Authority against Team WWE. Authority, I keep saying against Team WWE, but It might not be. Might not have been. Anyway, the Authority literally wipe out the other team, I think it is, and it's down to Ziggler against, I think, 3 other guys. I think it's Harper, Rollins, and Rusev, I think it is.
Yeah.
And he completely wipes the whole pack, obviously with a little help from Sting at the end. But yeah, completely wipes out the whole pack. And I just cannot think of how Ziggler could have performed any better in that match. He was just absolutely fantastic. I mean,
he's a fantastic
Ziggler.
worker.
Yeah, I love Ziggler as it is, and I really think he should have been given the push after that. I think it's definitely a good opportunity for him to have been given another world title shot or something. But unfortunately, nothing came of it. So that's a shame.
He's one of the guys. Yeah, he's one of the guys. He could have such great main event runs.
Yeah,
but they don't know what to do with him.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem.
It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, it really is, because he's fantastic.
I mean, you see him in the ring. You know, he performs moves so well.
Yeah.
You know, never seen a guy sell moves like him.
Yeah.
I mean, apart from the comedy of Shawn against Hogan at SummerSlam, but we won't talk about that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's for another podcast for another time.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, Ziggler he's a top level performer, and he should be given more main event status. But
yeah, definitely.
They don't seem to know what to do once they put him there.
No, exactly. Yeah, and it's like we were saying earlier on about them not knowing really what to do with the talent. They've got just such a big roster. There's just quite a lot of waste, unfortunately. But anyway, next one for me has to actually be an AEW match, which may be a bit controversial. Sorry, guys, in advance, but it's actually it was at, I can't remember the name. I think it was Double or Nothing. It was their first pay-per-view that they did. It was Cody versus Dustin. It was a brilliant match. It was just absolutely fantastic. Obviously a bit bloody, but I think
a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, but fantastic match. Obviously, two great wrestlers. I absolutely love Cody Rhodes. I loved him when he was in WWE, and now I love him in AEW as well. I just think he's an absolutely great. And Goldust as well. Obviously, Dustin Rhodes, Goldust, a very underrated wrestler, I think, in my opinion.
Completely, yeah.
Back in his day, very underrated. I think he's fantastic, and he's great now. Obviously in AEW with see Dustin Rhodes. I think the attire looks great, and they're both just absolutely fantastic wrestlers, and that match was just amazing. I remember actually reading something about that match actually. Obviously Dustin Rhodes obviously cut himself with a blade, obviously, and he was saying about how he cut a bit too deep, which is why there was so much blood. I remember there actually being a spot where they're doing a rest hold, where Cody Rhodes is going in a rest hold in the center of the ring, and the camera does sort of a zoomed in shot on Dustin, and you can actually see the blood sort of pumping out. It's just a bit gruesome, but I might sound a bit crazy for saying this, but I think the blood gives it that extra bit of edginess in a match. It really can sort of make a match. And there was a distinctive part that I also remember when Cody obviously gets some of the blood that's on his hands and just wipes it across his chest like that. And I just think it's absolutely fantastic. Like, spots like that are just amazing. It really helps build characters. Just absolutely great. So that was a real standout match for me. And the last one really for me has got to be it's an NXT one. It's the NXT ladder match that they had. I think it was the night before WrestleMania. NXT New Orleans it might have been, and it was I think it was a 6-man ladder match to crown the first North American champion. Just absolutely incredible. So, like I say, some moves that you just never thought you'd see. Ricochet, absolutely fantastic wrestler. So there's some absolutely fantastic moves. I'm a big fan of NXT. Like I say, Triple H is just doing an absolutely great job of that, bringing in some great talent, performing some great moves with the wrestlers, just absolutely fantastic. So that's my top 5 really.
Good selection.
Again, could go on all day, but had to narrow it down to 5 because I'm sure these guys don't want to sit and watch this all day. But
if they're wrestling fans, they'll watch it and they'll enjoy it.
Exactly. Yeah. So now we're actually going to tip the scale to the complete opposite side. We've talked about things we love. Now we're going to talk about things we don't like as much. So 3 things that you sort of think are sort of driven you away from wrestling a little bit recently. Sort of things that you kind of think you don't like as much as you did back in the day, or things that you think that they're kind of letting them down a bit.
Okay. I think the top one that stands out for me these days, certainly from a WWE standpoint, is it feels too much like a soap opera production.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff that goes on during the shows backstage, not behind the scenes, behind the camera, but like the backstage segments they do. They're too long. It's too much. The promos, they're scripted word for word these days.
Yeah.
In the old days, you'd kind of they'd say to them, right, start here, finish here, include this in the middle somewhere, and go.
Yeah.
But nowadays, it's almost like they're reading an auto cue. Yeah. And for me, that takes a lot away from character development.
It definitely does. Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, it feels like a soap opera, like more like EastEnders or something, And I think that's really, and not just myself, but a lot of other fans as well. It's really put them off recently.
Yeah.
And I think another thing as well is wrestlers do, to a degree, still have gimmicks and characters, but I really love back in the old days, when they were over the top. When you get some of the gimmicks were awful, TJ Hopper, a plumber, Duke the Dumpster Drozy, the garbage man. I'm sure they were fantastic guys, fantastic wrestlers, but just the gimmicks themselves. But it worked back then.
Yeah.
And it's like, what other career could you have where you could be a plumber that's built like a brick hit house?
Yeah.
Wrestling ring, or like the Undertaker, a funeral mortician who comes to a wrestling ring to put guys in a body bag and drag them off in a hearse.
Yeah.
I got to take my hat off to the creative teams and ultimately Vince for signing off on some of these guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely. As I said, there's not enough of that these days.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
I get you got to change with the times, and people see a lot more. We know about kayfabe now. We know it's scripted. We know it's predetermined. I refuse to say fake because it's not, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, that's the point. That's coming up next.
Yeah, yeah, I thought it might be. Yeah. So, and I get that, but at the same time, you still got to entertain everyone.
Yeah.
If you and as I said, you've got guys like the Fiend with his, fantastic,
but, great character.
But you go back to, like I said, Hercules Hernandez, or when he was just Hercules, he played it as if he was from ancient Greece. He was Hercules as people would know him, whether it be like from Disney or whatever, he was Hercules.
Yeah.
And things like that. And it's just lacking that these days. And for me, that was a big part of the entertainment value.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think a big one for me at the minute is definitely got to be the shows are just way too long. Just you've got to add up even in a week. Just for WWE alone, you've got 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of NXT, an hour and a half of main event, 2.5 hours or 2 hours of SmackDown, plus good 2, 3, 4 hours if you've got a pay-per-view on the Sunday, plus all of the other stuff that they put on, like the documentaries and the podcasts and everything else. It's just a lot of content.
On average, even without a pay-per-view week, you're looking at 8 or 9 hours of wrestling from WWE alone in a week. That is a lot.
And that's, I say, that's just WWE. You've got AEW. It's like an hour and a half every week, and another 2.5, 3 hours if you've got a pay-per-view then as well. So it's a lot. But just
Impact as well.
And Impact. Specifically, just talking about WWE, it's just a lot. They just completely. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to completely flood the market, but it's impossible to keep on top of it all. I mean, me personally, I just end up watching the highlights of, or not even that. Sometimes just watching the top 10 clip they put on YouTube.
I often find I'm doing that as well.
So I don't have time to sit and watch, like you say, 9 hours a week of WWE. So
I've got a 9 to 5 job. I got a mortgage to pay. I ain't got time to watch it.
Exactly. And another point I would say as well is the show's pretty much copy and pasted every week. It feels like it's the same guys, the same matches, the same storylines, and it's sort of, like you say, it's not really moving on anywhere. And it's almost like they've got such a huge roster, and it's just a lot of wasted talent. Like the guys that they're wasting, like Ricochet, Aleister Black, Keith Lee, just absolutely fantastic wrestlers that are just getting absolutely forgotten about.
And sometimes it takes until you get to the Royal Rumble before you see somebody and think, oh my God, you're still there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you actually forget people are even with the company still. So it's a real shame, but you never know. Hopefully, I know COVID has got to make it really difficult for them at the moment.
Of course.
So hopefully things will pick up soon for them. And I think the final thing to sort of really finish on, is that stigma that wrestling fans really have to deal with, of the fact that it's fake. What are your opinions on that? I mean, I know it's quite a controversial topic.
I mean, like we were saying earlier, we know it's predetermined. We know that moves are done in a way to make them as safe as possible. I think the problem is a lot of people who aren't wrestling fans, the ones who say it's fake, is they think we're stupid. They think that we believe it to be real. And I think that's the biggest problem. They're not educated enough on it. You've only got to look at, when a suplex is performed, you can see he'll put his hand, the guy that's going to receive the suplex, he'll put his hand on the guy's neck to push and jump to help with him lift it. I mean, I get these guys are strong, but you try picking up somebody like 250, 290 pounds, literally without them assisting you, just holding on and lifting them up like that. It's not going to happen.
No.
Certainly not to the extent where you can lift them and throw them around that easy.
Not going to happen.
So, just from that alone, that they're helping do the move. And as I said, you look at when guys are put through a table, they're so careful to hit the middle of the table, so that's the weak point where it'll break. Or chair shots. I mean, I know today they try to avoid chair shots to the head, and that's fair enough after so many concussions over the years. But again, where are guys getting concussions from if it's fake?
Exactly.
And things like that, and I've seen behind the scenes of Jeff Hardy after a match. He's got physiotherapists with him, putting him back together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
not surprising.
I mean, no, and I think I saw it for I'm sure it was Triple H. I saw, he was there with a chiropractor, and the guy's literally there, like putting in a bear hug, and you hear him crunch, just to be able to get him to move again afterwards. That ain't fake, people.
No.
A chiropractor can't do that if it's,
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem. A lot of these people just aren't educated enough.
Yeah.
And they feel that we believe it's real, and it's an insult, really.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
We don't look at episodes of Coronation Street and EastEnders and think that's real.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing.
It is. Yeah. It's no different.
No, I mean, you look at a fist fight on EastEnders. That's way more fake.
Yeah.
These guys, those guys aren't trained. It's camera angles. It's, it's set up in a certain way. These average people, they know that's fake.
Yeah.
In the same way we know that our wrestling is predetermined.
Yeah.
Like I said, they help each other. They make it as safe as possible. And we get it. We know.
Yeah.
And I got to be careful, because otherwise I'm going to end up 3 hours later, I'm still talking about this. So I'll cut myself there.
Yeah. I mean, some absolute fantastic points. And I mean, I completely agree with you. I mean, it feels like an insult, doesn't it? When someone says to you, oh, it's fake, because it's almost like, I'm aware.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm going to turn around and say, oh, that's it, you ruined it now, I'm not going to watch wrestling ever again, because now I know it's fake. It's like...
I mean, do you really think that something happens to you on SmackDown, you're going to wait until Monday to go into a wrestling ring to deal with the guy? No, you're going to find him in 10 minutes and put him in a hospital bed if he's real.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I remember it was when Triple H and Randy Orton were feuding, and Triple H went to his house.
He went to his house, and
the amount he put him through.
He threw him through his window, didn't he? Threw him through his front window.
Intensive care.
Yeah.
If that was real, they would have both been in intensive care. They certainly wouldn't have showed up next week and had another match.
Well, put it this way, even the spot where Triple H throws him through Randy Orton's front window, I mean, there's no way you would ever just got out from that.
No, you wouldn't wait around until the next WWE show to do something about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it was like the old cliche, wasn't it? You had, what was it, Raw on Monday and SmackDown on Thursday. What happened to the McMahon family the rest of the week?
Yeah.
Stone Cold beat up Vince on Mondays and Thursdays only, but if he saw him on Tuesday or a Wednesday, nah, you're all right, mate, it's all right, I won't touch you.
Wait till Thursday.
Wait till Thursday.
Make you suffer. Some fantastic points. I feel like that's an appropriate place to end. So thank you so much, Jay, for joining us today. It's been absolutely fantastic. Fantastic.
I really appreciate being here.
Been fantastic talking to you. Some fantastic points covered, and we'd love to have you back for another video at some point.
That'd be awesome.
Amazing. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you guys for watching. And like I said, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you enjoyed. And like I said, if you've got any questions for me or Jay, just drop them in the comment section. I'm sure Jay, you wouldn't mind answering them if anyone does have any questions. I mean, I'd like
that'd be good.
Either, so be fantastic. So like I said, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot, guys.
And if you ain't down with that, we got 2 words for you.
Suck it. Right, see you later, guys. Thank you.
Take care, mate.